All right, let's get into this. Draymond Green was on the JJ Redick podcast, Old Man and the Three, and his own one. It was like a joint, not smart little thing to do, little joint podcast session. And he discussed, Rob, whether or not the Cavs would have, or the Warriors would have beaten the Cavs without Kevin Durant. Remember, they beat him in 2017 and 2018 with KD, and he was asked by Redick, would they have beaten him without him? Here he is.
I don't think the outside world gave Kevin enough credit. I think if you came within our organization, Kevin was given all the credit. But the reality is I don't think that team wins another championship if Kevin doesn't come. Now, you may say, oh, yeah, but y'all won the fourth one without Kevin. But there's a gap in there. Teams started to figure us out.
Would you guys have beat Houston those 2 years without Kevin?
Yeah, we was beating them for sure. So, kidding me? That team was never going to beat us. It just was not going to happen.
What about the Cavs then?
We would not have beat the Cavs coming back around without Kevin.
All right. Look, obviously we'll never know the answer to this, Rob, and Draymond Green is not the final authority, whether he thinks it or not.
I thought he was, no matter what he says.
New media, you know.
Yeah, okay.
But
new
he's
media.
not. And so
ain't nothing new about players glad-handing each other and patting each other on the back. That's ain't nothing new. But go ahead.
Right. And so here's the thing. Draymond, and he is critical of the media. Nick Wright, my partner on First Things First, who Draymond criticizes heavily, he said Draymond is really a media critic more than anything. And that might be the case, right? That's certainly part of what he is. But here's the thing, Rob. As Draymond is criticizing us and he enters this media space, he's opening himself up to criticism on that front as well. And here's the thing. I find Draymond to be just factually incorrect on a lot of things. He says,
what
number one, right, the outside world did not give KD enough credit.
I couldn't.
Right. I mean, some people, of course, still had the quote unquote asterisks in their mind. But Rob, he was praised. Was not he? He was praised.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Again, he got some criticism, but he got major praise. People calling him, and I know it wasn't universal, but a significant number of people were saying he's the best player in the world.
Yep.
Nobody was saying that when he was in OKC. And so he got enough praise from the outside world.
Especially Chris, because he just wasn't, like you could say, well, it's Steph's Warriors or whatever. He wasn't just along for the ride. And winning the finals MVP, whether you put stake in it or not, it does say something. And he won them both years. I don't know how anybody could look at that and not give him some credit.
No, I don't think that, to me at least, in my mind, the criticism or the questions, I should say, were never about did Kevin Durant contribute. It was about they're so good. It's easy. That's what it was about. And so everybody felt he was the best player on the team. And I think the Warriors felt that way. But here's the thing, too, Rob. Draymond says, inside the organization, you ask us, we knew. Yeah, I believe the players and the whole organization felt like KD was the best player on the team. But, Rob, what did Bob Myers say at the parade?
Right.
I know he was joking.
But
some think, hey, it's a parade. They're celebrating. I don't know. Had he drank a little bit?
He might have.
You lose your inhibitions.
Yep.
You say what's really on your mind.
Chris, truth serum.
Right.
When you start drinking.
I mean, so that came out. And then Draymond himself. What did you say when I get it, you were heated, but you were in an argument. You said it.
And you know what, Chris?
We didn't need you. We don't need you. Leave. That's what he said.
Where was JJ Redick in that conversation to bring that up?
Great point.
Okay, this
excellent
is
point.
So when
Rob
you
Parker.
listen to these podcasts, dude, I'm just trying to be honest with you. It ain't about hate or jealousy. Chris and I are doing just fine on this radio show.
You hear how we call each other out.
We do
if
it.
Rob was in Draymond's shoes and I was JJ Redick, I would have been like, Hold up. Didn't you say you don't need it?
100%. And we've
We
done
do
it
that to
back
each
and
other all
forth
the
all the
time.
time. And my point is that this happy talk on these podcasts with these players is ridiculous. Because if J.J. Redick had a real conversation going, he would have pushed back on Draymond. Didn't
Right.
you say this?
Right.
What'd you mean by that? Answer
Right.
that. So you were BSing. Now you're sitting here playing happy talk. Come on,
Absolutely.
man. Which one is it? Which Draymond? Were you real that time when you were mad at him on the court, or now you're throwing him flowers because you won another championship and you're trying to get back in his good graces? Which one is it?
Right. And I think that last point is well taken as well, Rob. Like, Kevin Durant has taken a lot of shots in the last couple months, right? Some unfairly. I mean, it's natural for us to talk about it because he left the Warriors.
But some is
But
unfair.
some of it's been, over the top. And I think Draymond, and being a good friend, or, a friend, I guess.
I'm with you,
is
Chris.
trying to, but that's, to me, Rob, that's where this is coming from.
Yep.
And also, he's good friends with LeBron. And I think that's also where this is coming from when he says we wouldn't have beat them. Because, hold on, you dismissed the Rockets, right? The Rockets took you to 7.
Right.
Had you down 3-2 with Kevin Durant. They played you much tougher with Durant than the Cavs did. And if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, Rob, in those last 2 games in 2018, maybe Houston beats them. So I think you made a great point about these guys aren't questioning each other the way they should and pushing back.
Chris, it's a conversation. I mean, like just keep it real. Like you
Right.
can't have that conversation and not bring that up. You mentioned it. When we have our talking points or we're debating, and you said something that you said before, and I'll bring it back up. Why didn't you say it now? Didn't you say that? Or you'll say it for me. That's all we're talking about.
Right. Absolutely. Now, let me get to the crux of the matter, Rob. And I do think we disagree on this. I think the Warriors, and again, we'll never know. I think they would have beaten the Cavs in 2017 without KD. Now, they wouldn't have wiped the floor with them like they did. It was a sweep, or was it 4-1, whatever it was?
4-1 the first
4-1,
year, and then
a
4
sweep
the next year, right.
Yeah, they wouldn't have demolished them like they did. But it would have been probably maybe another 7-game series. I think certainly at least 6. But, Rob, I think that the Warriors would have been on a mission. And I thought Phoenix was on a mission after losing last year. So, it doesn't mean it's right. But I think they would have been like San Antonio in 2014, when you remember they lost that finals to LeBron and the Heat on Ray Allen's shot. Or him, he extended the series. And I think that the Warriors would have felt like we gave away a finals. Draymond gets suspended. That gave the Cavs momentum. We were up 3-1. And I think the Warriors would have come back to beat them. And here's why I say that. Obviously, the two teams were very closely matched because the Warriors got up 3-1 on them. And the Cavs won Game 7 by 4 points. So it was a very close matchup between these two teams. So to say it couldn't have went either way I think is off, because they were very closely matched. And for Draymond, Rob, here's more disingenuousness, in my opinion. For him to say teams have figured us out, yeah, you don't know. First of all, you were 73-9, and you came within 4 points of winning your second championship. And then the next year, you added Kevin Durant. So teams didn't have a chance to figure you out. They certainly didn't figure you out when you went 73-9. If you want to say the Cavs had figured us out, okay. But don't tell me teams had figured us out. You'd been running through everybody all season long. And then the next year, you weren't the same team because you had KD. And in their tenure with KD, Rob, let's say when it went back to the old team when KD was out and Steph was playing, they won 81% of their games. When KD was playing without Steph, they won 61% of their games. So there's no evidence to back up Draymond's claim that teams had figured us out, because you weren't the same team ever again, for those next few years. So you don't know if they figured you out or not. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think that while he doesn't have any real evidence, I do believe that they went to get Durant because they felt like they needed him after what had happened. You just talked about it. They won 73 games. They hadn't lost 3 games all year, 3 games in a row all year, and they lose 3 games in a row to lose the championship, including 2 at home. And they begged him to come, and they wanted him to come, and because I think they felt, it's weird because if he didn't come, Chris, who knows? Maybe LeBron has another championship or 2. You don't know that for real. I mean,
right.
It's a big moment there, and against Durant with them, LeBron was 1-8 in those 9 finals games. Like no contest.
Well, they Rob, they became.
No,
it
was
just
no
wasn't
contest.
even fair.
It wasn't even right.
Now I get it. And Houston did give them a good game, good series. Took them 7. It would have been interesting. If Houston had met Cleveland, let's say Durant didn't go there, Rob, and Houston got to the finals, and they met Cleveland. That would have been interesting. Chris Paul, James Harden against LeBron and Kyrie. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they would have won, but certainly they would have had I think the Warriors would have won. I'm saying, but certainly Cleveland would have had a chance. Would the Warriors have beaten the Cavs in 2017 and 18 even without KD? Your thought?
Let's go to Marshall in Minnesota. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up, Marshall?
Hey, guys. I was just calling to say, I believe they could have gone 1-1, because you can't ever count out LeBron James. He's, he's the second best player of all time, in my opinion. But I mean, one thing Draymond's discounting though is if they didn't again, like you guys said, they brought him all the way without Kevin Durant, and if they didn't get Kevin Durant, they would have got some other decent role player. You know what I mean? And that's all they need to get that. Let's say they got an extra shooter, an extra big man that can block. And then I think, like you guys said, it's toe-to-toe and let's go again. Because, I mean, Kevin Durant's one of my favorite players. So obviously, with him, they're unstoppable. But without him, they were there. They were right there. They're the best team.
Yeah, but I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah, but we had also seen them lose a 3-1 lead, too. Let's not act like it didn't happen, right? That's all I'm saying. Dante in North Carolina, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up, Dante?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing good. You?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great.
Yep.
So what's up?
I definitely think the Warriors could have won without Kevin Durant. And I remember years ago, Chris had said that Mike D'Antoni was like performance-enhancing drugs for certain players. And I believe Steph Curry is performance-enhancing drugs for wing players that are like 6'7" to 6'11". And I just think that what Kevin Durant did winning the Finals MVP wasn't special. And I wish Andrew Wiggins would have won it this year.
So you think Wiggins should have won it over Steph?
No. He was trying to make the point.
Wish he would have, so he could have proved that point. But I think Kevin Durant was just an upgraded Andre Iguodala and Andrew Wiggins.
Stop.
So I think they definitely could have won it. If they don't, they win, they lose. They
were up 3-1 and choked without him.
Well, like I say, look, I don't think the argument is that Durant wasn't great. I mean, he's a better player by eons over Andrew Wiggins and Andre Iguodala.
I know that's
the argument is.
I know, but that's what he brought up.
Right. No, right. The argument is it was easy. It wasn't that KD, didn't play well or wasn't special.